Okay, I am not used to recording without a script, so I apologize if this is a little bit stumbling over words, but I needed to get my thoughts out, and when I try to write them down, there's like a mental block. So I thought I would just get on Stardew Valley so I have something for you guys to watch in the background and just talk. I might do some edits if there's massive pauses because sometimes I need to think. But otherwise it's just going to be me yapping. As some of you may know, I have autism and I have ADHD. And I have a very complex past with mental health issues in general. I've been hospitalized by them before. They've basically been ruining my life since I was 18. And I am now 31 as of last week. Last week? I'm losing track of time. I think it was last week. I have tried lots of things over the years. I've tried education at university in total 4 times. And I have also done a college course since then. And all of them have failed in one way or the other. I have not completed any of them. For various different reasons, but usually it comes down to some level of burnout. And this is basically the crux of this video. People talk about autistic burnout, and they say, you know, it's a pattern of something that can last for weeks or months, or even a few years. I think I have been in autistic burnout since I was 18. That's, good God, 13 years. I resonate with everything that people say they experience in autistic burnout, but I don't resonate with it in a way like, yeah, I agree. I also go through these burnout periods. I resonate with it as if this is my life. I go through, well, I just exist in a long period of fatigue, of anxiety, of depression. And it looks different, sure, throughout the years. That's a lot of spring onions. But in essence, I don't have the energy to do what normal people do. But if I do nothing, I get into these big depressive, like rotting phases where I essentially will literally do nothing and then feel like I'm worthless, feel like I have no purpose in life. So it just gets worse and worse until I change something. But when I try to do things, I just give up. And I don't give up just because it's easy. Even if someone asks me, that might be like the reason I say. I give up because a lot of the time I just can't keep doing it. It's not sustainable. Whatever I enjoy doing, I do it for a while, and then it becomes exhausting and impossible to keep doing. And that is the crux of also why I've struggled with education, whilst I've never been able to have a traditional job, because, you know, even if I find something that I'm super passionate about, my energy levels fluctuate every day so much. And I can't have a job where I'm just like, okay, I'm only in to work a few times this week, and I don't know which days those are going to be, and I don't know which times those days are going to be. Like, it's one thing having a part-time job, but the part-time job still has hours, it still has days you have to work, shifts and stuff. And a lot of the time, I can't do those things. And it often goes hand in hand with agoraphobia that develops when I'm in the burnout phases. I stop going outside, and then I become afraid to go outside. So next thing I know, I'm not getting any social interaction. I'm not getting, you know, my vitamin D from being outside, or even just like the joys of nature, which are huge for me, especially as someone who loves animals and loves science, like biology and stuff. Yeah, I'm gonna need a moment to think. So why am I making this video? Well, I've been having a lot of fun with my YouTube and streaming. I wouldn't say career, because as much as I want it to be, it's not currently a career. And it got to the point where I felt like maybe this is something that I can do finally to financially support myself. So I set myself a challenge, as some of you know, in May, that I would become monetized on YouTube as like a goal that I could set myself by the end of summer. And it is now August, and I am not even close, watch hours wise. And I suppose it just really made me realize that little bit of hope that I had about having found something that one day I could be a financially independent adult with, that the reality of it was actually not the case, at least not as I am doing it currently. I know that if I did more things that the algorithm would push, if I was better at social media, I would maybe do a little better, but that's also not sustainable with my, constant burnout life. And it brought me back to the age-old problem that I've been asking myself for years now. And that is, so what? So what now? What is my life going to be? I had that bit of hope that maybe I had found a future that was sustainable for me, that I enjoyed doing, that I was good at. But the reality of it is, I don't know with my conditions and my capabilities if I'll ever be able to get to a place where I am doing this and making enough money of it to survive. Right now I have the benefit of living with my parents, so I can afford to live on less money, but I don't want to live with my parents forever. I just moved back in last year, and as lovely as my parents are, it's very hard to adjust to living back with your parents after you've not lived with them for a long time. But even if I was to just say, okay, I'll live on disability benefits for the rest of my life, that is not enough in the UK to afford rent. They give me £400 a month for rent if I was living not with my parents. And the rent for perhaps the smallest house around here, which would be like a small 1-bedroom apartment or something, is minimum £600. So, and that doesn't include bills, it doesn't include food, it doesn't include, getting around, transport, my car, my pet insurance. Overall, if I was to take that, I think I would have, it's about £1,000 a month. So let's say we go with the worst house possible. That's £600. I have £400 left in the month. I have to pay all my utilities out of that, my car insurance, my petrol, if I do go outside, which I'm not doing at the moment, my vet bills, my pet insurance, my pet food, all my food. That's not something that's not possible. I would be living in constant fear of just having no money, not being able to feed myself, not being able to feed my dog, which, obviously she's the most important thing to me, so her needs will come first. But also I am, let's face it, I am a disabled person. I my needs are important, keep me living. I just had a birthday stream and I had some very, very generous donations from my lovely community. And I felt very blessed by them, and I still feel very, I don't really know what the word is, I suppose grateful, but it's more than grateful. That being said, any content creator will tell you that you can't live off the money, live off the goodwill of your community, off these like one-time donations. Because first of all, that to me that just seems a little bit predatory. Like every video or stream that I make, I'm basically saying, hey, if you guys don't give me money, I can't live, and if you don't give me money, you're somehow less important viewer or whatever. This is not what I think, but this is what I feel like gets across if I'm constantly like, oh hey, please donate to me, etc, etc. And that's not all the case, you know. Nothing is more important to me than the wonderful comments I get on my videos, on my Discord, on my streams about how I've maybe made people's lives better, that I make people feel better. That is something that money can't replace. So ideally I would look for the money to come from companies in some way. You know, YouTube AdSense, Twitch ads, which are not much. I think I get about 20 pence a 4-hour stream. But obviously I'm not monetized on YouTube yet. And even if I was, the money that I would make realistically, looking at how my views have been lately, I haven't had a video go over 1,000 views in a long time. It wouldn't be much. I'd be lucky if it was £100 a month. And I get sponsors, but I don't think anyone wants to sponsor me at my current level. And also, I would only want to take sponsors that I believed in, and then of course sponsors come with deadlines and stress. So I'm wondering, you know, do I just pack in the bag? Not entirely of content creation, because like I said, I do really enjoy what I'm doing. I love spending time with you guys. I think it's worthwhile. I think the community I've made is something to be proud of. But do I give up on the belief that this is actually going to be a career? And do I stop deluding myself with this belief? Give me a second. Anyway, and the answer to that is, you know, sure, maybe, but what's the alternative? If I can't get a traditional job, then I won't be able to support myself with that. I can't support myself on benefits. I can continue leeching off my parents, but eventually they are going to get old and need caring for, and, you know, one day they won't be around. It's hard to look into a future like that and know why to keep going. And I want to clarify to anyone watching this. This might sound like dangerous thinking, that I'm unsafe or anything. It's not. That's part of the reason that I said that I feel like I've been out forever, is that I'm always just thinking this. It isn't like an acute sudden spiral where I have to be worried that I'm gonna do something. This is more just like the constant acceptance in my brain at all times. I think it's just hard to talk about it out loud, which is why I might sound a little emotional. Where do I go from there, though? I think that's why I'm making this video. Usually I make videos hoping to be inspiring or to help give people tips on how to enjoy their life better, especially if you're neurodivergent or you're struggling with other health conditions. But I think it's this time, I think I'm the one that needs the advice, if you guys have any. And if not, then at least I've gotten it off my chest, and hopefully maybe other people will watch this, and maybe there's someone else out there who feels similar. Not that I'd wish this on anyone else. One of the things I've considered doing is making a Patreon as a more sustainable source of revenue, but once again, that's like leaning on fans for money and support, which I don't know how comfortable I feel doing that. I don't know if I feel like I don't give enough. And even if, say, I made a Patreon and I said £5 a month, even if in my wildest dreams I got like 100 members, which is already ridiculous numbers, it's £500 a month. That still doesn't cover rent. And it just feels a bit bleak, really. I have so many ideas of things I want to do, but when I think about doing them for YouTube, I'm like, oh, well, that would just mess up my algorithm, so YouTube won't know what sort of channel I am, and it'll all be for nothing because no one will see it. You know, I spent hours and hours recording and editing my latest Pocopia video, and it only got about 100 views. It's hard to put stuff out there hoping that what you're doing is going to lead to something when it feels like no one's seeing it. Even though obviously 100 people watching something is huge. If it was just a hobby, I'd be... And this is why I keep saying, should I give up on the idea of it being a career? But, you know, there's no alternative either. Like, I could go back to university. I don't think I would make it through. I just am constantly going into mental health episodes from the work from university, even though I love the subject. But let's say I do somehow get through university, then what? What does my degree give me? It opens up more jobs that I couldn't do because of the same issues for the jobs that I can't do now. But at least when I'm in university, you know, society considers me a productive member, you know. Family and friends can be like, wow, look at her, she's doing something. They aren't ashamed of my progress. They aren't seeing the version of me that I see, where it's like watching myself fail in slow motion. I thought maybe just to lighten the subject a little bit, I discussed some ideas I do have for my channel. I recently gifted a decent camera that I'd like to eventually use for wildlife photography or wildlife films. I have a series in mind that would require me to film wildlife and share it with you, because, you know, it's one of my passions, animals, and I'd love to educate people about them. But who is that going to reach when my channel is so disjointed? You know, I said we don't need a niche, and if you're a hobbyist, I don't think you need a niche, but is YouTube ever going to push my videos out to enough people if I'm so disjointed to get the numbers that I need from ad revenue to survive? And I don't know. I have a plan to do a week in the life vlog because that was one of the goals that we reached on my birthday stream. So that will be coming out soonish. I haven't started yet. I'm trying to find a week where I'm not just sleeping all the time. And I am also going to be sharing a video about the lore of the little world of the community that we've built called the Borough. Not sure what format that will take yet, but I have all these ideas. It's just Who am I deluding myself when I say I want to become a full-time content creator? My videos have 100 views. And I know it takes time. I know that. But also I feel so behind in life, and part of me feels like if I was meant to succeed, I would have succeeded by now. If I was good enough, I'd be good enough by now. That pretending to try and make it a career whilst being supported by my parents is just leeching off them, and I should somehow look at something else. I don't know what that something else would be. I don't know. It's just tough right now, folks. God, wouldn't it be wonderful to just be like rich, come from a rich family? You know, like just even just like enough money to have like a personal assistant come round and help me, because maybe that would help a little bit. They would be able to get me out. Also, I don't know if there's any fixing me with all the money in the world. I'm not sure if I'm even going to put this video out. Maybe I will, just in the vague hope that someone will see it and have advice that will change my life. And also because I haven't put anything out on my YouTube channel recently, and part of that is because of all these thoughts being like, am I a failure? Do I keep trying or not? Yeah, I wish I had a more happy way to end this video. I have promised a video shout out for the people who supported in my Twitch stream, but I don't really want to do it in a video that's as much a bummer as this one is. So I will probably include that in my vlog when I do that eventually. And yeah, I know it sounds a little bit silly to say everything we've talked about here, but I guess stay cozy, folks, and keep on keeping on.